Hi guys, welcome to the first tutorial. It's HTML based. Today we're just going to look at simple tags and tips. Before we begin, I'd like you to look at the book on the page in front of you. Basically, it's a very good book. It will help you with your colour numbering, so when inserting numbers for colours into HTML, there's a list in the back of the book and also a list of basic tags and how to create a HTML page from basic. So if we carry on with the video, I'm now sort of going to get into the video. At any point you get stuck, please press pause and take notes, and obviously tell your friends. Right guys, the first step really now, if you open Notepad, you can do this quite simply by going to the start menu and going up on the sort of pinned to start menu applications. Notepad should be there. I'm not actually going to use Notepad to show the example, but when you're coding it's best to use Notepad. You can use Word, I believe, as long as you save as HTML file, but for the time being, if you open Notepad and just sort of use this as a working way to make examples and notes. As you can see on this page, I've put a brief outline that I'm then going to explain step by step and slowly. As with tags, this isn't coding, by the way. If it was this simple, it would be very nice. With HTML coding, you always start with an opening tag. You need an opening tag. An example, for example, you could have font as your opening tag and a line of code. This is an example and is used to format the fonts basically. Perhaps you might want to change the colour, or you might want to change the size of the font. Each of these has an attribute, so each tag has its own attribute. For example, font size, this would be an attribute. When putting an attribute in and changing something, you always have an equals, and you always have brackets, and the value that you're trying to change goes within this bracket. For example, font size, and then we might say 3 because might be a font size, and the bigger you get in numbers, the larger the font. So basically, as you can see, I'm colour coding everything, and we've got the sort of tag itself would be orange, the attributes are green, the value would be a red, and then we've got whether we're changing blue. Basically, I've kind of, in a sense, completed the line of code here, but I've also put closing tag. Closing tag's very important. But basically, just make sure you put a forward slash. You mimic the opening tag, but then have a closing bracket at the end. For example, here the tags we have are orange, so the font tag, and the attribute is inside the tag, and the value for that, the size of the font would be red. We want to change the font to blue, for example. So what we would then do is we'd go just after size, and then we would put in the attribute color, okay, equals, and then we can say blue. This would normally be a number represented with a pound sign, which can be found just above the shift key on the keyboard, and then a line of numbers to represent the colour code. This can be found in the back of the book or recommended. Right, so basically this is sort of a really handy way to learn how to do the tags. Colour coding, you can't go wrong, just make sure that all the colours are filled, sort of retrospectively speaking. A really good hint, if you're not sure what tag to use, or if you want to sort of find out how to lay out the page, if you go into any website that you like, you've seen the layout, you wonder how they've tagged or how they've coded a particular part. For example, with Firefox, go to View and then Source or Page Source, or press Control and V, and you should get a list of code. This is HTML based. It will also have JavaScript, HTML, and other forms of script in there. But you can sort of dissect different parts. If you save the site and view the source, you can then click on different parts of that site you've saved and sort of just view to see what code does what. Another good website is the W3 Schools website. I recommend having a look. They also have scripts already made, and the internet's full of scripts that are already made that you can sort of cater for your own site.